Welcome to our fourth video of 6 on non-contact cube decisions. This video will concentrate on the first step of the Keith count, a method of evaluation developed by Tom Keith. As introduced in the last video, the Keith count is the easiest and most reliable method that factors in both the pip count and checker distribution. In the last video, we learned just how detrimental gaps and stacks can be when we are bearing off checkers. We also learned that the location of these stacks and gaps is also very important. Let's look at a quick overview of the Keith count. So here's how we use the Keith count. We have our opponent and we have the player on turn. This is the player who's considering the cube. For the opponent, we do the pip count and then we adjust that pip count. And this adjustment, these are penalties for having gaps and stacks on the wrong points. That gives us a new number for the opponent. Now for the player on turn, very similar. We do the pip count, we adjust it the same way, penalizing for stacks and gaps. We do one more change, we increase this number, and that gives us a number for the player who's looking at the cube. So we have our two numbers, and that's all we need. We're going to look at the difference between these two numbers. That gives us the number that we're going to use. And that number will tell us which window we are in. Are we in a no double window, a double take window, a redouble take window? Again, with redouble, our window is a little tighter. Our threshold for recubing is a little higher than the initial cube. Or are we in the double pass window? Now, the nice thing about the Keith count is that after you do your Keith count, your stacks and gaps are already figured into your answer. And if you'll notice, we're not doing any percentages. This extra step here is actually really easy. Now in this video, we're going to concentrate just on these penalties, just on this first adjustment. And that will comprise the entire video. That way, when we move on to the last two steps, it's very easy and we won't have a long list of things to have to remember to do. So, it'll also keep the video short. So we're going to get started on our first adjustments. Let's look at our penalties for our stacks and our gaps, which is our first step in the Keith count. If we have no checkers on our 6 point, we have a gap on our 6 point, it's a penalty of +1 point. If we have no checkers on our 5 point, we have a gap on our 5 point, it's a penalty of +1. If we have no checkers on our 4 point, gap on our 4 point, it is a penalty of +1. If we have more than 3 checkers on our 3 point, it's a penalty of +1 for each checker. So this would be a penalty of 1, this would be a penalty of 2. +1 for each checker over 3. If we have a checker, or any checkers, over 1 on the 2 point, it's a penalty of 1 for each checker. Pretty easy. Any checkers over 1 on the 1 point are a penalty of 2 each. So this would be a penalty of 2, penalty of 4, penalty of 6. So for the 1 point, anything over 1 is a 2 point penalty per checker. That leaves us with this formation. If you can remember this formation, then it's easy. No checkers, no checkers, no checkers are penalties. And then anything over this formation is a penalty. No, 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 L. So if you can remember, use a holiday, use the name. Nice little memory trick to help remember this pattern. And these are our numbers that we're going to use to do our first adjustment for the Keith count. We'll be doing 8 examples you can follow along with, 8 positions where we'll be counting both sides And we'll be doing the adjusted pip count. We'll be going this far for both sides. Now whenever I do anything like this, there's a big advantage to doing it the exact same way every single time. So for example, I'll count the pips, then I'll go back to the 6 point, the 5 point, and I'll just keep working my way down, adjusting in the penalties for the stacks and gaps. And what this does is, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 operations, 4 different things that I'm doing, I'm really just doing 1 and then 2. And doing it this way, I don't have to take my pip count, hold that in my memory, total up the penalties, and then add them together. It just becomes one straight operation. And you'll see that as I do this. I'm going to do this out loud and you can follow along. So this is our first example. So here in this position, our pip count is 52. That's easy. No penalties up here and 2 here. So 52, but our adjusted pip count is now 54. Our opponent's pip count is 55, 56, 57. Pip count is 57, and our new adjusted pip count, I'm sorry, our pip count is 55, our new adjusted pip count is 57. And you can see how when I counted the pips, I just went straight ahead and adjusted it right away. So it's just one operation. For our next position, pip count here is 40, 51. One penalty here and one here, so 51, our new adjusted pip count is 53. For the opponent, the pip count is 40, 46, 49, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. Pip count of 49, new adjusted pip count of 53. For our next position, our pip count is 40, 45, and 5. Our pip count is 50, 51, 52. 50, and our new adjusted pip count, 52. For the opponent, our pip count is 30, 41, 43, and 5 is 48. And the penalties here are just going to be these checkers here. So 48 and 8 is 56. 48's pip count, our new adjusted pip count is 56. Our next position, our pip count, 42, 46, and our penalties, 46, 47, 48, and 6 is 54. 46 is the pip count, 54 is the new adjusted pip count. And for the opponent, their pip count is 40, 51, and 2 is 53, and their penalties 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. So 53 is a pip count, but their new adjusted pip count is 59. For our next position, our pip count is 44, 47 with 2 penalties, 47, 48, 49. 47, our new adjusted pip count is 49. And for the opponent, pip count is 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Pip count is 41, but the new adjusted pip count is 45. This is a fun one. The way I counted this was I subtracted 4, added 4. Counted that one pretty quick, and just in case anyone was curious, that's how I did it. For this position, our pip count is 30, 40, 55, 56. And here are our penalties, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. We have a pip count of 56. Our adjusted pip count is 60. And for the opponent, their pip count is 54 and 3 is 57. No penalties. 57 is their adjusted pip count. Our next position, our pip count is an easy one. 42, 43, 44, 45. 42 is the pip count, 45 is the adjusted pip count. And for the opponent, 30, 40, 45, 45. with two penalties. 45 is their pip count, 47 is their adjusted pip count. And the last position we'll be looking at, our pip count is 10, 20, 30, 4, and 3 is 7, 37, 38, and 4, 42. 37 is the pip count, 42 is the adjusted pip count. For the opponent, the pip count is 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Pip count is 41, the adjusted pip count is 45. In the next video, we're going to pick up right where we left off. We're going to do more positions. We'll count through again just for practice, but then we're going to add in, for the player who's on turn, this increase. This is actually really easy, but it's a little odd because there's nothing in normal life that you ever would do like this. It doesn't remind me of anything. So we'll get to do more practice in, we'll add the increase in, and then on the last video in this series, we'll add in the answers, see what window we're in, if it's a double take, if it's a double pass, where we're at, and then we will take a bunch of positions that we've been working on, and we'll do it with the 8, 9, 12 rule, and we'll do it with the Keith count, and we'll see how they fare, which one is more accurate.